what comes to mind are chemicals, test tubes, and of course drab and really uninteresting, uninspiring interiors. Well, the Vidyalankar Institute of Technology in Mumbai has all of that, but in an interesting setup. We talked to Rashmi and Kalhan on how they actually managed to make a science lab look creative.
Enthused by the success of our earlier designed facility, Vidyalankar Institute of Technology unanimously elected us to design this extension which sits across an internal campus street. Called the X Block, this is one of the brave attempts in India right now to define a new idiom for design of educational facilities. My name is Kalhan, and that's my colleague Rashmi from Planet 3 Studios Architecture, and she'll probably take you through a few elements of design here.
If I talk about the building skin, it evokes the tall grass tray in the strong wind. The skin itself wraps around the central patio, creating the semi-shaded pathway. The basic intention was to create the ease between the interiors and exteriors.
This building is going to serve as a life sciences and a biotech sort of a center, and we have drawn a lot from nature and pasted it all over this place, and that sort of defines a certain character in terms of design and the institution. We also drawn a lot from latent Indian symbolism. For instance, this lotus lab or the lotus suite that you see here, it's a seat of learning. And in terms of Indian tradition, you can make that relation in your mind. It's an interesting thing for students and everybody else to discover. We have a fun bit here. We have a partition that actually spells out a cafe that separates out the public space from the dining area behind. Moving on to the grand staircase. This grand staircase has a railing which evokes the frayed edges of a wicker basket.
We have basically used recycled material. This is a slipper wood which comes out of a railway sleeper. We have a block with a twist here. This is a lab inside. The twisted form itself serves for the acoustics of this place inside.
So from the lab with a twist, we go on to a classroom which has interesting punctures, and these punctures are just to create learning spaces with a difference where, in this case you have a play of light and shade and shadow inside, so that makes it interesting. Going on to public spaces, and those public spaces that make it almost like an educational village.
Basically, it's like Indian chopal where students come together, they study, they have small discussions. We also have, sometimes they also hang LCD screen and where they have their presentations as well.
Nature doesn't like right angles, and so doesn't this facility. This central spine that connects the two ends of the property is actually a warped wall that twists, turns in 3 dimensions, and this hides behind it classrooms that actually are odd-shaped, and these classrooms have these learning spaces, alcoves created because of this wall, which works very well with the kind of learning that's imparted here. On the surface of this, you can see this interesting rendering in laminate in terms of color, which starts from some color to a lot of color towards the end, and that again is organic in its feel. On the ceiling, we have these interesting bands that help define the volume, and these carry the lighting and the services for us. We are at the core of the Lotus Center, and the partition of this biotechnology lab behind me actually draws from the basic structure of cells and how they sort of come together. You don't need signages to tell you where you are. Just by looking at the architecture, just by looking at the design, you can actually understand and appreciate what's inside. And that's something that we have kept here consistent to the whole design. In this case, form and pattern actually follows function.